Hello everyone, I'm Shudhanshu Sarkar, Assistant Professor, Department of Electrical Engineering, Narula Institute of Technology. Today I'm going to talk topic of switchgear and protection. Switchgear and protection is a very important topic of electrical engineers. So this subject is designed for third year, fifth semester electrical engineering students. This is the lesson plan of the subject. So here in this subject, there are total 3 units I will cover within the next semester. So in the first unit, I already go through the video lectures on these topics. Now today I'm going to talk about a topic of unit 3 from this topic, and the topic of discussion for today is component of static relays, and then we'll talk about the block diagram of static relay, and finally different types static relay. So this is today's topic of discussion. Now look, first let me tell you what is actually this static relay. So first I'll talk on that. Look, another name of static relay is solid state relay. So you can call solid state relays or static relays. The static relay is an electrical relay in which the response or action is developed by electrical or mechanical or optical or other without mechanical motion of components. So we can define the static relay that it's electrical relay. You need to remember these few words that electrical relay in which response or action is developed by, from where this is developing, through these three terms, either electrical or mechanical or optical or other without mechanical motion of components. So the relay will be static, that means there will be no motion, no mechanical motion, but it will be developed through some electrical or mechanical or optical action or response. This is one of the property, or you can say the definition of static relay or solid state relay. Next, let me talk on the static relay is defined. Now the definition, we are going to the actual definition of this static relay. Static relay is defined as one in which there is no armature or other moving element. That means the armature part is not present here. No armature or the other moving elements. The desired response being developed by electronic solid state magnetic components without mechanical motion. So it is like this last part which I already explained. The static relay is defined, so one of which there is no armature or moving elements. So no armature will be there. That means, or you can say in the other word, no, whether there is no armature, so no question of moving element. The desired response being developed by electronic solid state. So from where response is actually developing with the help of the electronics solid state or magnetic components. Yes, the magnetic components is one of the most important part without mechanical motion. Fine, that part is already covered. For that very reason, because there is no mechanical motion, it is called the static relay. Now, in the third part, let me talk about the relay designed to get a response not from a mechanical operation but from an electrical, electromagnetic, and optical motion. So same topic, same sentence is repeating. So why? Because the most important part is the electrical, mechanical, and optical motion. These are the most important part of this type of relay. So relay designed to get a response not from mechanical. So the same thing is repeating here in different ways. Actually, the designing part, if we consider the designing part of the static relay, so we can say that the relay designed to get the response. Why we design it? Because to get the response not from the mechanical operation but from an electrical, electromagnetic or mechanical motion. So just try to remember these three terms. This will help you to understand that what is actually the static relay. Now let me talk about the components of static relays. The output of a CT or PT in the current transformer or potential transformer of a transducer is rectified by the rectifier. Very good. We all know this, that the output of CT and PT. Now, the rectified output is given. So what? This part is, we need to remember. The rectified output is given to a measuring unit constitute of comparators, level detectors and logic circuits. The output is actuated when the dynamic input, that is the relaying quantity, attains the threshold value. So here CT and PT has a great role for this type of static relay. Now look, if you follow this diagram, so what can you feel, understand that a DC supply is here. If you follow, DC supply is coming inside the relay, then there is a DC supply, then it is connected, and in this side there is a secondaries of CT, PT or transducer, so that is connected with the rectifier, and then the relay measuring unit, then it is connected with amplifier and output devices, and this is the trip circuit. So it is these are the components which normally used for a static relays. So rectifier is used, relay measuring circuit, amplifier, output devices, and trip circuits. So these are the common secondaries of CT or PT transducer. So relaying quantity is also here for this. So you have to remember these components, that these components are basically called the component of the static relay. Now the output of the measuring unit, look here in the last slide we find that the output, there is the output unit. So the output of the measuring unit is fed to the input unit devices. Obviously output is always coming from the input devices after it is amplified by the amplifier. So amplifier actually amplifying the measuring unit, the output value. The output unit activates the trip coil only when the relay operates. So what is happening for this case, the output unit activates the trip coil only when the relay operates. The relaying quantities such as the voltage and current is rectified and measured. So here the relaying quantity such as the voltage. So what is the relaying quantity? We need to remember the relaying quantity such as voltage and current is rectified and measured. So for this case, for static relay, we have to remember these terms, that the voltage and current are the relaying quantity. Working of a static relay. Now we'll talk about the working of a static relay. So for this purpose, the output of CTs, PTs, transducers is rectified in rectifier. So where is rectified? We already know that the CT, PT and transducer is rectified in rectifier. So no problem with this. Next, the rectified output is fed into the relaying measuring unit. So where the rectifier output is feeding, it is fed into the relaying measuring unit. We saw it the last slide and I already discussed on this. The output of measuring unit is then amplified the amplifier. Okay, that is the next part. Now the last part is the amplified output is given to the output device, which energize the trip coil when the relay operates. So this is actually the working of a static relay. So step by step, this process is going on. This process will going on for the static relay. Now, in the next slide, we can find the merits of static relay and also the limitation of static relay. So what are the merits? It has some merits. It has some important roles in electrical systems, electrical engineering, or you can say the power system. The merits, one of the merits is the reliability. Then it gives the system much more reliable. So it had very good reliability. Then it is sensitivity is very good. Now it is the speed, the walk speed is very high, and then selectivity is also very important part for the and we consider selectivity as a merit for the static relay, and versatility. So it is also has a great role of the electrical system. So these are the merit of static relay. Now it has some limitation also. So what are the limitation? Now talk about that. We can discuss so about the demerits also, or you can say the static relay limitation. Number one, the auxiliary voltage requirement for relay operation. That means auxiliary voltage means extra voltage is uh, not the supply voltage. Without supply voltage, there will be another voltage source is required for the relay operation. Second one, this is one of the limitation, you can say. The static relay are sensitive to voltage transients which are caused by operation of breaker and isolator to the primary circuit of CTs and PTs. So are sensitive to voltage yes, sensitive to transients voltage transients and which caused by operation of breaker, yes, and isolator in the primary circuit CTs and PTs. So this is another disadvantage or limitation of the static relay. Now the next one is non-availability of test data. So test data is not available for the static relay. We cannot find any test data for this type of static relay. The last one is highly reliable power supply circuits are required. That if the highly reliable power supply is not there, so relay sometimes don't operate. So this is another demerits, or you can say the limitation of this static relay. So high reliable power supply circuits are required for this case. Otherwise, maybe sometimes these don't operate properly. Fine. Next, let me talk about the application part of this static relay. So one of the most important application is overcurrent schemes. So in case of overcurrent schemes, we can use this static relay. Then the artful protection scheme. For artful protection also we can use this overcurrent relay, static relay. Now used in ultra high speed protection schemes of EHV AC lines utilizing distance protections. For EHV AC line, extra high voltage AC lines utilizing distance protection, we use this type of static relay. Now, the semiconductor devices used in this static relay, some semiconductor devices are also used for this type of static relays. So what are that semiconductor devices? The number one, the first one is the semiconductor diode. Then normally use the transistor is also used for this type of static relay. Then unijunction transistor is there. Thyristor is also used for this type of relay, static relay. Logic circuit is, you will find the logic circuit inside the static relay. Then there is a filter circuit. Multi vibrator is also there. Time delay circuit is also there. Level detectors is there, and finally the analog circuit. So these are the components. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 major components is there inside it, or with the help of these components the static relay is actually developed. So try to remember all these, because these are very most important part, the semiconductor, transistor, junction transistor, thyristor, logic circuits, filter circuits, multi vibrator, time delay circuits, level detectors, and analog circuits. So these are the devices, semiconductor devices used in static relay. Now static overcurrent relay. Now let me talk about the static overcurrent relay. Look, for the static overcurrent relay, the output of this summation CT is fed to an auxiliary CT. Okay, so the output of the summation CT, output of the summation, what the output? Yes, the output of the summation CT is fed to an auxiliary CT. So where it is actually feeding, it is fed to an auxiliary CT. Fine. Whose output is rectified. Fine. smoothened and applied to the measuring unit called the level detector. Okay, so where and the level detector, when the input current to the level detector is less than the threshold value or set value, the output of the level detector is zero. So you have to remember this part, this very important properties of a static overcurrent relay, that the when the input current to the level detector is less. Look, this is very important MCQ also. Please try to remember, otherwise it will be difficult for you to answer the short type questions. So sometimes it's very important for interview question also. Look, what will be the question and what will be the answer when the input current to the level detector is less. Okay, so when the input current the level detector is less than the threshold value, okay, or set value, the output of the level detector is zero. Fine. You have to remember this line obviously. For the overcurrent relay, if I input less than threshold, that means I output equals to zero. That part is also we discussed. Now, if I input is greater than equals to threshold value, threshold and I output is positive quantity. Fine. So if I input greater than equals to threshold value, then I output should be the positive quantity. And the next number 2 in B section B. So when it is zero, when I input is less than threshold value, I output is zero. When I input is greater than equals to threshold value, I output is positive quantity. Fine. The output, I think now it is clear to all of you about the static overcurrent relay. The next part is the output of level detector is amplified and applied to the output device to cause trip alarm. So what happened? The output of the level detector. So from the level detector, we are getting the output. Detector is amplified. So first it will amplify and apply to the output device. Then it will be applied to the output device. Why? To cause, because it will help to trip or give some alarm to the system. Now, this part we already discussed in the previous slide. So the system is from the summa. Read the first from the summation CT. There's the input CT with filter, then it is filtering up, then going to the level detector. After that, it will amplifier. Using amplifier, the output will go to the through the amplifier. It is going to the output device, and finally we're getting the trip. So that part already we discussed in the previous slide. So for your better understanding, you can follow this chart. You can remember like this. So here, the static instantaneous overcurrent relay. Static instantaneous we talk on instantaneous in our previous lecture, instantaneous overcurrent relay, but here it is static instantaneous overcurrent relay. That is the fixed. Now the current derived from the main CT, the current transformer is fed to the input transformer, which gives a proportional output voltage. Okay, so how this system is operating? Look here, we have an input current. So first, if you follow, you will find some input current, then it is going to the input transformer, then through the rectifier or filter it is going to the level detector. Fine, again it is amplified with the amplifier, it is going to the output device, and finally we are getting the trip signal or alarm. So this is the method, this is the process. Now the input transformer, here you will find the input transformer. This is the input transformer, has an air gap in the iron core to give linearity in the current or voltage relationship up to highest value of current expected, and is provided with tapping on its secondary winding to obtain different current settings. Fine. The second part, the output voltage. You know that there is output voltage of the transformer, secondary side, there is the output voltage of the transformer, which is rectified through an rectifier and then filtered at a single stage to avoid undesirable time delay to filtering, so as to ensure high speed of operation. We know that it has a advantage that its speed is very good. So for high speed of operation, this process is going on. The transformer is rectified through the rectifier and then filtered at a single stage to avoid undesirable time delay to filtering so as to ensure high speed of operation. Now here a limiter made of a Zener diode is also incorporated in the circuit. Yes, to limit the rectified voltage. Why we are using this the Zener diode? To limit the rectified voltage to the the safe values where even when the input current is very high under fault condition. Yes, the input current is very high, but that is not the problem. If we can use the Zener diode, it can help us limit the rectified voltage to the safe value. So this is the importance to make a Zener diode incorporation in the circuit. Now here, then the fixed portion of the rectified and filtered voltage through a potential divider of compared against a preset pickup value by a level detector, and if it exists the pickup value, a signal through an amplifier is given to the output device which issues the trip signal. So in this way, in this process, through the different process, finally we are getting the trip signal. Now the definite time overcurrent relay. So in case of definite time overcurrent relay, if you follow, you will find that there is input current, no problem with this, then input transformer, or you can say the potentiometer, then it is going through the rectifier or filter going to the level detector. Then after the level detector, there is a time circuit. So again it is going through the time circuit going to the level detector 2, which is again a potentiometer. Now the output of the potentiometer is going to the amplifier, and finally it is going to the output devices, and then at the end we are getting the trip signal. This is for definite time over current relay. So here the level detector 1 and level detector 2, and for level detector 2 there is a potentiometer is connected here. So what is happening? Look, the operating time of overcurrent relay is constant, no problem. So the operating time of the overcurrent relay is constant, it is fixed. Now irrespective of the level of the fault current, fine, so no problem with this. So irrespective of the level of the fault current, we know that for this case the operating time of the overcurrent relay is constant. Then the second part, what is the second one? The input current signal derived from the main CT is converted to a proportional voltage signal by the input transformer and then rectified, filtered and compared with the preset threshold value of the level detector. So here it is happening through this circuit, through this process. Now if the voltage exceeds the preset threshold value and the level detector gives an output voltage, thereby the charging of the capacitor C of the RC timing circuit starts. Okay, so when the voltage exceeds the threshold value, if the voltage is maximum voltage is coming, it exceeds the limit, then the preset threshold value and the level detector, where is the level detector? This is the level detector. Level detector gives the output voltage. Okay, so output voltage, it is giving the output voltage, then thereby the changing of the capacitor C of the RC timing circuit starts. Very good. Now the last part. So what happened? The next two steps. As soon as the voltage across the capacitor exists, okay, the preset threshold value, we can consider the preset threshold value as VT, preset threshold value of the level detector 2, a signal through the amplifier is given to the output device which issues the trip signals. Okay, so for this case, what is happening? The threshold value VT of the level detector 2, the second level detector, in this case 2 detector, level detector 1 and 2. So VT of level detector 2, a signal through the amplifier is given to the output device which issues the trip signal. Okay, so where we are getting the, after that from the output device we are getting the trip signal or alarm. Potentiometers P1 and P2, yes, is used for current setting and time setting. respectively. So why we use P1 and P2? So P1 for current setting and P2 for time setting. Potentiometer, both the potentiometer are normally used. Now we are moving to the next slide. So in our next slide, we have the inverse time overcurrent relay. So for inverse time overcurrent relay, what is happening? What is the modification here done? Let me explain. So input current is there, then the input transformer is there, then the rectifier filter is also there, the level detector, potentiometer, switch S1 switch is there, then timing circuit potentiometer is there. After the timing circuit potentiometer, then it is moving to the level detector B, that is the second potentiometer P2. Then through the amplifier, it is coming to the output device, and finally we are getting the trip signal. So here, between the rectifier and the level detector A and the timing circuit potentiometer, there is another switch. So two switches there. One is parallelly connected through these two, and another one is connected in series. So both the switch is connected here. Now, under normal condition, we can say when the input current is low, switch S1 is on. Yes, input current is low, switch S1 is on. Short circuiting the capacitor C and RC tuning circuit, and switch S2 is off. If this one is off, this one is on. Fine. As soon as the input voltage exceeds, if the input voltage cross the limit, then what will happen? The preset reference voltage of the level detector A. Okay. Now what will happen? Switch S1, which is connected in series, is switched off, and switch S2 is switched on. That means which is connected parallelly. S2 is switched on, and the charging of capacitor C of the timing circuit starts. Fine. Starts from a voltage potential to the current. Switch S1 and S2 are made of static components. So these two are made for basically for the static component, fixed component. When the voltage across the capacitor C of the timing circuit exists, the reference voltage of the level detector B, okay, level detector B, as set by the potentiometer P2. Now, finally, the output, or you can say PZ potentiometer. Yes, for this case, we are representing with PZ. Finally, the output device issues the trip signal. Okay. Yes, our output device is issuing the trip signal or alarm. Here, the pulse setting multiplier PSM is given by the transformer secondary tap and potentiometer PX. So, and the time multiplier setting is determined by the potentiometer PY and PZ. So time multiplier setting we are determining with by the potentiometer PY PZ, and the PX, the multiplier is given by the transformer secondary tap and potentiometer PX. So here the pulse setting multiplier is given. So PSM, the pulse setting multiplier is given by the transformer secondary tap and potentiometer PX, and the time setting multiplier, flux setting multiplier is getting from here PX and the transformer secondary tap, and the time setting multiplier is determined by the potentiometer PY and PZ. Now the directional static overcurrent relay, the next one, the directional overcurrent relay, there is nothing but a differential power relay. So both are similar, you can say. Differential power relay, which operates when the power in the circuit flows in a particular direction. Okay, when the power in the circuit flows in a particular direction, no problem. In a particular direction, if the power will flow, thus it requires to sense the system voltage as well as the system current. Okay, now here the auxiliary CT and phase shifter AB is both are going to the phase comparator through the directional unit. Then there is a timer circuit. After that, the level detector, and finally the amplifier. And then we are getting the trip signal to circuit. So in this way, we can define the directional static. And then what happened? The input A is proportional. Look here, the input A, we know that there is two A and B. Input A is proportional to the system current supplied to a directional unit through auxiliary transformer. Fine. Now the B is proportional to the system voltage. So A is proportional to system current and B is proportional to the system voltage supplied to the directional unit through phase shifter. Fine. Now the phase comparator compares the phase angle between the 2 points. So the phase comparator compares the phase angle between the 2 points. The phase comparator is generally 2 types. What are the types? One is Hall effect generator, which is popularly used in Russian countries, and the second one is rectifier bridge type comparator. So these are the 2 types of phase comparator is generally used. So to make this PowerPoint presentation, I take help from these 2 books. This is very good books. You can follow this one also. For any type of confusion, you can contact with me anytime. And thank you everyone. Thanks for watching the video. Goodbye.